200. This meeting is needed 227.
SK737, climb and continue heading east.
Off.
264.
Take off successful.
SK737, climb to 500 and set heading towards your destination.
Wrong digit has left the meeting alert. 50.
Let's take off to an SK
169/900. Pre-flight list, pre-flight current seat, current takeoff speed, current landing airspeed, 242 km per hour.
Okay, triple 559, roger.
260.
559, advise attention.
264 crosswind from right. 263 crosswind.
Runway heading second departure,
262 crosswind from right. 391/900.
SK737, continue on your present course and altitude.
Automatic navigation on.
2001, 9 o'clock. 4 miles, Boeing 737, setting up 2,500 for the parallel. We're looking for 2001. 2001 traffic. Second.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have successfully took off and you may now unfasten your seatbelts. During the flight, our staff will be regularly walking through the aisles, so please get their attention if you would like to ask a question or need anything. We wish you a pleasant flight.
SK737, descend to 100.
Altitude, edit line.
SK737, descend to 100.
20. You're okay. 420/100.
185, left Victor, left half of the ramp, and man on this frequency.
Pacific Ocean.
Number 2 Golf Sierra, traffic center, 2 mile file behind you, exit right. Juliet, hold short, runway 22 right.
13 km Oakland International Airport, 2 mid. North
Number 2
Pacific
Golf Sierra,
Ocean.
traffic center, 2 mile file behind you, exit right. Juliet, hold short, runway 22 right.
100.
SK737, continue on your present course and altitude.
11 km Oakland International Airport, 2 mid.
Affirmative 121.9. Clear to land, 13 left, Delta 1728. Land Chile 531 heavy, County South, runway 13 right, shortened.
SK737, you are leaving the airspace of...
You have entered airspace of a new airport. Squawk
6508.
Transponder, edit line, 6508.
Everyone set.
Identification confirmed. SK737, this is your destination airport. Continue on your present course and altitude. Contact tower to request landing clearance at 2 kilometers from the airport.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching our destination airport and will be landing shortly. Please fasten your seatbelts, set your seats to an upright position, and close the tables in
Juliet,
front
hold
of
short,
you.
runway
Thank
22
you.
right, 2 Golf here.
72 km Oakland International Airport, 1 mid.
Take that, Delta 396, take 8.
Oakland International Airport, 1 mid. 64 km Oakland International Airport, 1 mid.
We'll continue,
60 km Oakland
203.
International Airport, 1 mid. 55 km Oakland International Airport, 1 mid.
Juliet, hold short, runway 22 right, 2 Golf
51
here.
km Oakland International Airport, 1 mid. 46 km Oakland International Airport, 1 mid. 42 km Oakland International Airport. 38 km Oakland International Airport. 35 km Oakland International. Rosio Fonseca has joined the meeting alert. 33 km Oakland International Airport. 31 km Oakland International Airport. 28 km Oakland International Airport. 26 km Oakland International Airport, North America. 24 km Oakland International Airport. 22 km Oakland International Airport. 21 km Oakland International Airport. 19 km land.
SK737, this is the control tower. We are experiencing heavy traffic and do not have any available runways. Please stand by. SK737, this is the control tower. We are experiencing heavy traffic and do not have any available runways. Please stand by. SK737, you are cleared to land. I repeat, you are cleared to land.
Clear to land, SK737.
Altitude, edit land. 0. Euro clear.
Done.
Heavy contact departure 1257. 1257 and from to 98.
154/0.
The France 9 heavy.
101/0. 65/0. 49/0.
Number 472 heavy right,
Landing
Juliet,
successful.
November, DC right.
40.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have landed at our destination.
50.
Please remain in your seat until the aircraft has come to a complete stop.
When you can.
We hope you were satisfied with our services and hope you will fly with us again. Have a nice day.
50. Unlock on. Round 115 for tower/Shaible active 135.7. Round 115 for enter frequency edit land.
American 950 heavy, Juliet, show to 2 right.
Dot 4.
SK737, greetings, this is Ground, welcome to our airport.
Thank you, ground SK737, request taxi to parking.
SK737, the landing runway is free, you can roll to the parking position.
Hold the parking business in SK737.
Minus 800 and Rocio Fonseca has joined the meeting land. Minus 878. 27. 23. 22. 20. Minus 783. 655. 30. Minus 537. 406, 70, 90, 90, 20. Minus 261.
Vámonos. Ya, let's go.
Minus 187.
Ya estamos casi. Ya, vamos a mercado de aquí. ¿Quieres ir al mercado?
¿Ah?
Vamos al mercado.
Please mute your computer.
Minus 100.
¿Ah? Vámonos pues. Victoria sale a las 3.
Rocio, please mute your computer.
Minus 47. Minus 23. -8. -4. -3. -1.
Parking position.
Done. Automatic navigation off. TCAS off.
Weather radar off. Climate control off. Pressure off. Environmental control off. Strobe lights off. Tail lights off. Cabin lights off.
Off. Off. Computer off. Off.
To end, press enter. About your exit.
Post attendee Zoom group.
Is everyone, can everyone hear me still?
Yes, yes. Well, welcome to Oakland, California, everyone. I hope you had a pleasant flight, and I would now like to introduce you to our pilot. This is Adam Shaible, and I'm going to let him tell you his story and how he became a licensed student pilot as a blind man.
Well, it was kind of a lot of twists and turns, honestly. I was born back in 1966, and at that time I was preemie, and the oxygen damaged my eyes, totally fried them. And at that time, I needed to learn blindness skills. And my mom at the time, who was having some serious health problems, thought that the best place to send me was to the California School for the Blind in Berkeley, California. And of course, we were living in Orange County at the time, so the only way to get there was for me to fly there. So that was my transportation to and from school. And as a kid growing up, I thought that I didn't know about cost of airplanes. I thought everybody flew on an airplane when they went to school because that's what I did. And I fell in love with flying. It became a passion with me. When I would get onto the airplane, I always wanted to sit in the front by the pilot. I didn't know that there was a cockpit that separated the pilots from the passengers. As I got older, I learned that. And let me ask everybody this question. Does anybody, how familiar is everyone with the shuttle program that went from 1981 till, I believe it was 2011, I think, was when the last shuttle went up?
Yeah.
I think most of us were, listening when all that happened. We might have some young folks on that didn't.
Okay. Well, at that time, I first heard about it in 1979. I knew about the moon landings because I had studied that in I believe it was second and third grade. I think I remember hearing about that, but I thought at that time that anyone could go up into space. I just thought it was more expensive. I thought you went and bought a ticket like you did going on an airplane. I did not know that it was only for a select few that were in NASA or the Air Force or the like. I thought you went on a rocket. I thought they served you punch or whatever they gave you to drink and you went to the moon like everything else. I thought that's how they did that. So I was hoping back in the early 80s or late 70s that I could be, if not the first blind astronaut, at least one of them. Sadly, I found out in 1981 that I could not. I was living in the Placentia Unified School District with my late mom, Susan, my first mom, I call her. And I was registering for El Dorado High School, which had an ROTC program. And my special education teacher, the VH teacher, told me that I could only take ROTC if I joined men's chorus. I did not like that because I felt like that was a weapon held over my head. And I felt like I was being stereotyped or cornered, honestly. I didn't really care for that at all. And I found out that I couldn't join the service, and that really stuck with me for a long time. And then I found out when I was 20 how I went blind and the full details of it. And that was like going blind all over again. I mean, I knew that the oxygen had hurt, but I didn't know that it could have been prevented. And that was a blow to me. I felt like I was, okay, I just went blind again. I was dating a wonderful lady at the time. Her name was Denise. And I was taking counseling to adjust to this. And as she was with me, she was visiting me at Cal Poly Pomona at the time. We just got engaged. And as we walked out of the office, we heard this airplane going overhead. And I asked her, I said, do you see that airplane flying overhead? She said, no, but I can hear it. I said to her, well, I'm blind. I'm not going to ever be able to fly that. And she said, well, you can do one of two things. You can either sit in the corner and feel sorry for yourself or get as close to your dream as possible. And the Adam Shaible I know does not feel sorry for himself. So that's what I've been doing these past 40 years with some stops along the way. I started by flying these model airplanes that used to fly around in a circle. They were handled by a U-shaped control that would control the elevator. They would go up and down and you could put fuel in them. And I would often do that, even if I could never fly them myself, which I tried many times, but I kept crashing them and it became a very expensive hobby. And finally, after crashing my balsa wood plane, which I had put a lot of work into in 1992, while I was going to school to learn how to be a private investigator, which the college that I was attending didn't think I could do at that time. In fact, they tried their very best to discourage me from even entering. But I didn't let that stop me. I decided that I would stick with the flight simulator that I had started to learn a year before, back in early 1991. I had heard about Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I was using DOS. I don't remember the version of DOS, but it was well before Windows. I had an old IBM AT computer, which was built in 1986, and I had acquired it in 1990. So you can imagine how slow that machine was. I would listen to the computer's little speaker and count clicks. I don't know whether where the plane was going. I could always tell when I crashed, though. Never forgot. I could always tell that. So I kept playing with that. And as the 90s came to an end back in 1998, actually, when Windows was really advancing, well, so were the flight simulators. I bought Microsoft Flight Simulator 1998, or actually it was called Flight Simulator 98. And that was better for me, actually. I still didn't land the planes, but I could actually input information into the autopilots. I could read the instruction handbooks. I could read the adventures. And the sounds were real. So I could do a lot of things that I couldn't do before. And I actually had a force feedback joystick where I could feel the aircraft as it moved and crashed and whatever it did. I could feel all that. And I kept playing with all that. And every time a new version of Flight Simulator came out, I would get it. Vinny's got one for me in 2000. It was Microsoft Flight Simulator 2000 Professional. And 2002 and 2004, and finally Microsoft 10 was their last one. Now they've got back into the game and have Microsoft Flight Simulator 2021. I have not tried that yet. But as I did so, when I was going to graduate school to become a mobility instructor, I was doing a search about how could the mouse be accessible for blind users besides the screen reader, because I love screen readers dearly. They saved my life. But sometimes the mouse that the screen reader provides does not always provide you the information that the physical mouse will provide you with. And unfortunately, that was the way it is now for X-Plane. Most of X-Plane, which is the flight simulator I now have, are mostly mouse function. There are a lot of keystrokes, but not for screen readers. And I have contacted Laminar Research about that, and that is on their to-do list, but it's not at the top. I need to nudge them in the right direction. But as I was doing my search on the mouse functions, I came across a program called It's Your Plane, developed by a gentleman from British Columbia, Robert Caesar. And what he had done was he had taken his injury that he had suffered in I can't remember what year it was, but it was in the early 2000s. He was severely injured in a car accident. And I don't think he could use his hands very well. So he was flying his flight simulators quite a bit. And he developed an add-on called It's Your Plane. And that would allow you to speak commands into the simulator. So I could fly from any airport I chose. In fact, I did many times, and I could fly from the gate to gate. And there was even a blind pilot's mode, which gave you distance to the destination, altitude, anything you wanted to know, you could know. Unfortunately, when he was ill, he had to sell his home, and the server that had the Itch Your Plane program went with it. And he was going to make it so it would work offline, but that did not happen. There was some kind of bug in there, and so my flying stopped. I had bought a motion platform back in 2014 when I was working at the Society for the Blind as a mobility instructor, because I had talked to Denise and I had received an inheritance from my first mom, Susan. And I told Denise, I said, I want your opinion. I said, I'm either going to get a Harley or a full motion platform. I said, I will let you decide it, but I'm going to get one or the other. And she said, get the full motion platform. You're going to get more out of it. And so I did. And as it happened, I ended up having to retire from O&M because I had developed some conditions in my spine. My head was actually pressing down into my neck, and it was basically creating bone on bone contact, which they tell me there's nothing medically can be done for it. And I've tried it all. I've changed diets. I did laser surgery to burn off nerves, and it's still there. I have a pain pump, and I'm still fighting through it, but I'm winning because I'm here. I'm not gone, and I don't intend to. I have a lot to do still, including becoming a blind pilot, a fully blind pilot. Without the student, I want to take that S and replace it with the letter P. God willing, and with Zach's help and my hard work and all the technology that's out there. Anyway, I could not fly the X-plane, and the simulator was just sitting there, and I put the unit up on OfferUp.
Adam, explain to them what your full motion platform is.
Okay, the full motion platform is what I have is like what professional pilots would use. Airlines have these full motion flight simulators. My full motion flight simulator gave 6 degrees of freedom. You could feel when the plane was taking off, when it was landing, when it was turning. It's 6 degrees of freedom. It's roll, pitch, yaw, sway, heave, surge. And it gives you every feeling of flight, including the crashes and the landings. And so I put that unit up on OfferUp because I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to build it. I didn't know where my health was going. And I heard from a gentleman named Zach Woonsome, who asked me if the unit was still for sale. And I said, yes, are you interested? And he said, yes, but not how you may think. And he told me about the organization Youth Inspiration Nation and how we teach kids, 5th and 6th graders, about aviation. And it not only just teaches aviation, we teach STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And so I suggested to Zach, why don't we meet at Norm's hangar and have a coffee and let's talk about it. And if Zach, if you were there, would you please fill in the blanks there?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Zach Woonsome. I am the Executive Director of Youth Inspiration Nation and Adam's friend and brother. And probably one of the biggest privileges of my life was to meet Adam. You know, life's funny. We all have our problems. We all have things that aren't the greatest in our life. And I met Adam at a time where I didn't even know that I needed Adam, but apparently the good Lord had plans of his own. And when I first contacted Adam on OfferUp, I did not know Adam was blind. All I knew is that I was speaking to a gentleman who was very excited about aviation. So any chance that he had to talk about airplanes, he got really excited and animated on the phone. I said, I like this guy. And so Norm's Hangar is this restaurant located at Brackett Airfield, and you can sit out right on the runway and watch the airplanes take off and land. It's really a beautiful spot. And so I show up at the airport with my wife, and I text Adam. I said, hey, we're here. He says, hey, I'm outside on the patio. So we walk outside on the patio, and there's only one person out there, and it's Adam. And to my surprise, this gentleman is blind with a cane. And I walk up, and my wife, I say hello, and my wife says, good morning. And Adam immediately turns to my wife, and he orders a hamburger. And we thought that was kind of funny. I said, what is going on? And we, all of this is kind of sinking in. We realize he's blind. And this is where the conversation of conversations begins. And where I kind of realized that Adam was put in my life for a reason, so we started talking, and I'm understanding the joy of aviation that he has. And he is just as excited to hear about our program that I developed to teach little kids how to fly. And over the coming months, it kind of became a symbiotic relationship where I depended on Adam, and Adam depended on me for a lot of things. And, our relationship has blossomed over the years that we've known each other. Our organization did end up buying this flight simulator. So when he says full motion flight simulator, I want you to picture 4 feet wide by 4 feet long, approximately a 500-pound piece of equipment. So it's very expensive. They go for about $25,000 a piece. And Adam and I purchased this item from Adam. It was indoctrinated into our nonprofit. And Adam and I decided to offer Adam a job. There was something about Adam that his passion for how he saw aviation, it really touched me. And then I started to do the math. I said, well, I got a guy who's blind.
Program has left the meeting. Our program has joined the meeting.
That's okay. And he's passionate about aviation. And I started to think, and a little bit selfishly, I said, how could Adam benefit me and the kids that we serve? And I started to think about how positive Adam was, how seriously he took this aviation thing, how hard he was willing to work and to understand all the intricacies of aviation. It's a very complicated field, but worth every second of the studying. And so we invited Adam not only to be a part of our organization, but Adam now sits as president of the board for Youth Inspiration Nation. So he is the top dog, and he gets to make some pretty heavy decisions in his role. And we both saw a purpose. We both needed each other. We were at a time when, we want to build this business, and Adam is looking for, something in his life. And, like I said, the good Lord put us together. And next thing you know, we start this business, which I believe 2 years later, we became the first organization to have an aviation program with the first full motion flight simulator inside an elementary school classroom in the United States of America. Mm. And we did that on a dream, so when I had people tell me, I said, well, I want to put my aviation program in an elementary school. And they said, well, that's impossible. You're not an accredited teacher. You'll never get on an elementary school campus. Just forget about it and give up. And I said, okay, well, that's impossible. Well, then I'll start there. That sounds like fun. And lo and behold, 3 years later, Adam and I are sitting in an elementary school classroom in the city of La Puente with a program that was larger than life and brought tears to adults' eyes because they couldn't believe what they had walked into and what they were kind of a part of. And I don't think I would be where I am right now if it wasn't for Adam in many, many ways. And I don't know if all of you know it. I believe everybody here in this room may be blind, but I will tell you this. There are days when you feel, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that and I'm blind and blah, blah. And I don't look at the world like that and I don't look at people like that. Adam showed me what determination looks like. And, you know, I have people in my world, healthy as can be, 2 eyes, 2 arms, 2 legs, perfectly capable of doing anything that they would want to do. And instead, they find the typical distractions that life has, and they become lazy and unmotivated. And these people don't really do much with their lives. And then you look at Adam, and Adam has a couple cards stacked against him, and he decided not to let that slow him down. And the key word there is decided. He decided to do something special for himself, for his life, for his family, the people around him, the people who are watching him, the people who look up to him. And he said, I'm going to do something that is unique, special, difficult. And he took on that task, and he took it on like a champ. And so now Adam and I have known each other for several years, and I put in some work with Adam. We learned all of the basics and the book work, and lo and behold, a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of percent of the people on the planet, Adam is that fraction of a fraction of people, as far as it comes to people with visual limitations having a pilot's license. It's almost unheard of. And I'll be honest, I don't know another pilot myself personally, because I've looked. And we do have a couple bids in with the Guinness Book of World Records, and Adam could very well become the very first blind pilot, of course, with limitations, but that doesn't mean much, because when I go flying, Adam goes with me anyway. I am a licensed pilot.
Yes.
And it's one of the things that we get to enjoy to do together. So
and I'd like to say, if I may, when COVID hit, we lost our classroom, and the simulator platform was in a trailer, and I had gone in for surgery to get my pain pump put in, and just a few days after that, some evil scum came and stole the trailer with just the platform. Everything else was not touched, but the platform was gone.
We got beautiful video of it on somebody's Ring doorbell camera of our trailer being drugged down the street. That was fun.
And thank God we did get it replaced. And Zach called me and he said, Adam, you're the only accredited teacher here. Should I go get my license? Because how many years were you behind the cockpit before you had actually got your license? It was very, 30 years, I think it was. A lot of time.
something like that.
Thornberry has left the meeting.
It was quite a few years now. I've been flying since I was 17 years old. So I have lots and lots of flight time in aircraft. But every time I went to go get my pilot's license, something would happen. I started flying helicopters back in sometime in the middle of 2000, 2007, somewhere around there. And that's really where I got my idea to start this particular organization. And helicopters are very expensive. They're about $369 an hour per person. And this is back in early 2000.
Yeah.
And So it's just, this is, I think, my second or third attempt to go and get my private's license, and I was going to do it with helicopter this time. And one day my wife said, "Hey babe, I'm pregnant," and boom, that was it. Flight lessons were over. $369 was not an option.
So
And,
Zach asked me after the disaster of the simulator platform being lost, he said, "Should I go get my license?" I said, "You better." I said, "I only ask one favor." I said, "Please help me get my student license." And he said, "I'll get you in front of the right people." And he did.
And you know, the rest is history. And I think every time we go flying, technically we make a little bit of history because Adam becomes more proficient. And if all of you ever get a chance, you can kind of check out our social media pages at Aviation Education, the number 4 kids. If you type that out, at Aviation Education for Kids on Facebook or Instagram, our social media pages will be there. And you can actually check out a flight where Adam is making the radio calls to and from the ground and the tower, and doing the majority of the flying. By the way, we were flying out from Chino Airport to French Valley that day. But you know, the moral of the story, I think, is what we do is powerful. I like to tell people that we will teach your child how to fly an airplane before they learn how to drive a car. And that's pretty powerful when you think about, we're talking about 5th and 6th grade students. And I tell people the purpose of our program is not to turn our kids into pilots, right? That's not the point. People don't want to fly for a number of reasons, scared of heights and scared of airplanes. You know, that's not the point. The purpose of our program is to show these kids what they are actually able to accomplish. And we want to catch them early. That's why we chose 5th and 6th grade students before they go into junior high and learn all the crap that we know they're going to learn, and we don't want them to learn, but they're going to learn anyway. But now let's pretend that we gave them this powerful foundation in 5th and 6th grade. And now you jump into junior high and high school, and your buddies are like, "Hey, let's go smoke weed and go drink beer and go do all this stuff." But you remember back to when you were in elementary school, and these crazy guys named Adam and Zach told me that if I kept my head straight and I didn't drink and party and do all these stupid things, that I could actually become a pilot or an aircraft maintenance or dispatch or something like that. That's the whole purpose of the program.